Red Slash. It's part of the Knightfall storyline where Batman pretty much had a midlife crisis while Bane pretty much released all of his enemies and worn him out to near exhaustion and then broke his back. Then Azrael took over, then Batman got better and kicked Azrael's ass as Batman. So, this is after this is very early in the first half of the Knightfall storyline. Batman is very much already worn out mentally, physically. He hasn't slept in days. Robin is pretty much on his do not talk to me and do not work with me motive right now. And by the way, Robin also fought Bird. That should probably be mentioned. Like, this isn't like this isn't a very important issue to the storyline of Knightfall because like Bane only makes like one appearance. But it's kind of like one chapter in it that shows Batman's declining psychology, I guess. To where eventually, if you actually have read the story where his back is broken, because that's what a lot of the adaptations get wrong. Sure, his back is broken, but his spirit was broken too. He was pretty much worn out to death. So anyway, it opens up with Batman pretty much monologuing to himself how freaking exhausted he is, but then he gets a radio frequency from the police saying that Zaz has kidnapped a bunch of girls in the Bates women's school. Yep, psycho reference. And Zaz starts to show off his impressive tally mark collection. So if you don't know who Zaz is, he's a serial killer who has a very demented view of the world. He isn't very important to the Arkham games, but you have seen him in that. He appeared twice in Arkham Asylum, and he had a big side mission in Arkham City. I think he was mentioned in Origins, but I don't really know. And in Arkham Knight, he made one cameo appearance in one Riddler story. So yeah. He's probably Batman's most famous serial killer villain. I guess before Professor Pig, but anyway. And yes, the Joker is technically a serial killer, but anyway, that's besides the point. So Zaz is showing off his tally marks and explaining exactly how important these things are to him because it's pretty much like an addiction. He needs to have the mark, the tally marks and stuff. And so he says hey, look, I'm gonna have a bit of fun tonight. I'm gonna the cops are outside, but if they disturb us and send some in, I'm gonna kill just as many people here. Minimum 3. Just hope that 3 die and the rest of you get to live. And one girl is super scared, one is scared but is more rational, and the other one's just has delusional confidence that we can take him. He's just one guy. But yeah, she's the only one that feels that way. So the cops outside are oh man, shit, what do we do? We send one guy in, he's dead. And then they're gonna send another guy in because they can't check into that other guy because, well, Zaz is in there and they could hear over the radio. This guy has a special solution. Earplugs that connect to the radio. But Zaz eventually kills him too. And then Montoya and Harvey Bullock show up because Gordon was called to the mayor's office, who was pretty much chewing him out for not killing anyone in the Arkham breakout. I mean, that was pretty stupid of him, but they are also, kind of insane people. It wouldn't look good if you're killing a bunch of mentally ill people. Like there are more sympathetic ones, but still. So Montoya and Bullock arrive, and then Zaz announces, "Hey, like buddies," throws down a body, the two cops' bodies, and he's like, "Hey, look, you didn't listen to my instructions, so now I'm gonna go kill those two girls." And pretty much the cops are like, "Dang it, we can't go in further because then, crap, this is so complicated. He's just one guy." Then Batman shows up, super dead tired. Like even Bullock is like, "Man, Batman does not look great." But Montoya, who he was trying to talk to about this, pretty much just went in without him. So Batman enters and he's not doing well, and so he's pretty much acting paranoid. He's like, "Oh crap, I have to make sure his ass isn't here." Then he opens the door and reaches out while someone else reaches out for him, but then it's Robin, who tries to tell him about this guy named Bird who he fought. He's like, "Hey, look, I know we're not on the best of terms, but I can go get Bird, and trust me, I won't go after Bane," which is what Batman wanted. Because he's currently going through something about like Jason Todd's death and stuff, and this is Tim Drake, so yeah. So with that alert, I should probably tell you that Bird was also outside watching, and Bird is Bane's pretty much right hand man. He's like watching and letting Bane know, like, "Hey, Batman hasn't showed up yet." Earlier, but like, shouldn't we just jump him? But Bane's like, "No, he's not broken yet. I need to make him weaker in order to break him truly." Yet Bane was so disappointed when Batman didn't really put that much of a fight. Anyway, sorry, I'm having a break for a moment. But so Robin sees Bird's Falcon, which he has, by the way. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got you now, sucker." And that's pretty much where it leaves off because Robin doesn't really do anything with the whole Falcon thing. So cut back to Zaz, who's like telling the girls, "Hey, two cops came in. Time for two of you to die." Then the girls try to jump him. Well, the one that had delusional confidence tries to, but when everyone else was just scared, and he just gets her in the guts. Like, okay, these two, they're the death ones. But then Montoya shows up and he's like, "Hey, fine, you want?" And Montoya's like, "Freeze." But he's like, "I kind of have the advantage here, man, because I've got like one of them in my arms, and I'm gonna kill him. But if I could let one of them go, if you like, just drop that gun and turn around." And she does it because she's Montoya and she's kind of the good cop. Then he grabs her from behind and is like, "All right, time to die. You're going to replace one of them." And Batman shows up and is like, "No, stop this now." Then we go on this whole monologue from Zaz about how Batman isn't different from him because he's a stalker and predator of the night. The only real difference is that Batman brings up is like, "Hey, look, I don't kill people." Zaz is like, "Yes, and that's what makes the zombies love you so much." And Zaz like actually like hits Batman home because he's like, "Hey, like I know about Bane. I know that he's the one that released them, everyone." I was like, "What do you know?" Because he thinks Daz knows something. He's like, and Daz is like, look, you're paranoid." And like this goes on for so long that Montoya eventually decks him in the gut and escapes his grasp, and Zaz starts booking it. And Batman goes after him after making sure Montoya was okay, of course. And let's just say it was a one-sided beatdown because Batman just started going at him because Zaz was still talking shit about how they're the same. But Batman is just not in the mood to hear any of this crap right now. He beats him to a pulp where he actually gets blood on his hand, on his fist. And Montoya has to be like, dude, stop. I got him. It's like, this is enough. And that's just how tired Batman is, because that he nearly beat a guy to death over this. And Bird's like showing up, telling Bane like, hey, like all the stuff is they're all coming out, and like Batman just came out and he looks dead. He looks dead tired, and Batman just like curls up into a ball. He's like, I nearly lost control, being hunted by a man named Bane. And that's pretty much the issue. Now, why did I choose this Zaz issue over plenty of others? No real reason. I just wanted to. Bye.
Did I ever tell you about my first kill, Batman? No? As I am sure you are aware, my parents were dead and I was rich. So rich I could have anything I wanted, but of course, all I wanted was them back. I now know that that was impossible, of course, that their death served a higher purpose. But back then, I had yet to experience the joy of cold steel cutting through warm flesh. I had no idea how I could save these people from the relentless misery of their existence.
You should have stayed that way.
Really? Then I'll stop now. Find another telephone, Batman. Goodbye. You made it. I think I will continue my story. I feel the need to talk, to confess maybe. I was rich and alone, but not for long, of course. I took to gambling, or maybe it took to me. If only I had been good at it. I may not be where I am today. As my life spiraled out of control, I desperately formed a plan. A plan to win back my parents' money and be happy again. It didn't work, of course. Plans like that never do. But as I stood outside the Iceberg Lounge on that hot summer night, I remember feeling something. Hope, maybe. The Iceberg Lounge was crawling with the disgusting flesh of humanity. You could find anything there. If you had the money, of course. At the beginning, I seemed to be winning. The cards all went my way, and I found myself at the owner's table. For some reason, I thought I would win, that he would play fair. I looked around the table. I saw the people I was against. Card sharks, thugs, princes, and the disgusting midget who ran the place. One by one, they all lost or folded. The chips were piling up, and it was just him and me. They called him the Penguin, even back then. He had both eyes, of course. That little accident hadn't happened yet. And both of them were looking at me when I put down. They called him the Penguin, even back then. He had both eyes, of course. That little accident hadn't happened yet. and both of them were looking at me when I put down my cards. The 6 of clubs. The 6 of diamonds. He looked scared. He leaned forward, and I could smell the cigar stench on his breath. The 6 of spades, and finally, the 6 of hearts. I felt good. And then he started laughing. He belched out smoke, and he put his cards down on the table. Card by card, my heart sank. A 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a damn 7! His straight flush ended me there. I was lost and thrown out into the city to die, penniless. Can you imagine what it was like, Batman? I was numb. I'd lost everything, and I was alone, crying like a baby staggering through the streets of this city, until I found the answer that I had been looking for. I stood there on the Sprang Bridge, looking out at the sea. I felt the warm breeze on my skin, and it felt right. I looked down and imagined myself falling into the blissful arms of my mother. And then he appeared. He held out the knife and demanded my money. My money! Can you believe it? I looked into his cold, desperate eyes, and I saw something familiar. Something inevitable. I saw oblivion. I saw that we are all the same, stuck on a miserable loop that demands salvation. So I gave it to him. Can you imagine the vagrant's surprise when I grabbed his knife from his hands? It was instinctive. It was beautiful. In one movement, I sliced out his throat and gave him the gift of salvation. It happened so fast, but I felt every joyous sensation. The blood sprayed over my face, and I saw what little life was left in his eyes leave. But then it was over. I felt lost. Like it had been meaningless, that no one would acknowledge my sacrifice. And then it happened. Without realizing what I was doing, I plunged the knife into my forearm and cut deep. It was incredible. I felt my body elevate to a higher place. It had become a temple to my work.